Welcome back to Mock the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft. And I'm mocking, give you my views, thoughts, and opinions. We've got a special one today as we check out friend of the channel, Bengal. He released a new mock draft just a day ago. So we're going to go ahead, take a look at that. I've already watched the video beforehand, so I won't, butcher his opinion. So I suggest you go ahead and do the same. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Special thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring the video. When you use promo code Broshmo when you sign up, they'll make sure you get a little extra cheddar on top of your first deposit. But also for new and existing members, they got their big board, little board drafts out right now, and it includes this rookie class. So with their big board, up to $1 million in prizes available. I think first place in that gets $200,000. So a lot of cheddar you could make. I think to get into the big board, it's about $10, and then get into like little board, it's like $3 to $2. So go ahead, check that out. If you're feeling good about maybe where rookies are going and what their production's gonna be, then shoot, you got the edge up, especially if you watch this channel, because you already know. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker. So this is Bengals mock. I'm firmly gonna say this at the beginning because I'm gonna switch to full screen so we can get a better look at his picks, and his face is no longer going to be on the screen. I want y'all to think this is my mocks. But he does do a trade to start things out. We could probably skip to that, where he has the Colts trading up. They ended up trading, looks like here, 3 first-round picks, a 4th-round pick in exchange for the #1 pick and a 4th round this year. So let's go ahead, go widescreen with it, and then let me move this a little so y'all can see the picks to get this sucker started, as he's going to start off with Bryce Young going to the Colts. Like I said, Colts moved first in this mock draft. Bryce Young, until the combine happens and we see how small he really is, or how slightly bigger we hope he is, he's going to be the top quarterback for a lot of people. And even if the size, even if he doesn't check out that well with the size, I think a lot of people are still going to be on board with him. Now, I think it's real interesting what Bengal does with this next pick here, as he goes, oh man, here, back to full screen. There we go. As he decides not to go the quarterback route, maybe he's like, let's reel back on quarterback right now. It's D'Amico Ryan, defensive-minded coach. Maybe he wants to get that defense going. And what he does is, let's just go ahead, skip to it. He goes with Will Anderson here at number 2 for the Texans. So maybe on the crackback, you end up being able to address the quarterback position. Maybe it kind of falls, because now this is very interesting, because this is like the one wrinkle in the whole Bears moving down to 4 if the Texans don't go quarterback, which I think is very unlikely right now. But of course, things can change. But we know that Jalen Carter is going to be the next pick for the Colts. For the Cardinals, which it's great. They need defense. J.J. Watt retired. Their defense, even with J.J. Watt, wasn't all that hot. So start addressing that defensive front. So then what do the Bears do? You move down, hoping Carter or Anderson are going to be available here to you at pick 4. Full disclosure, we won't see another trade in the rest of this mock draft, so no trade down. That's not an option here. However, he ends up going with Tyree Wilson. He's the hot name right now because a lot of people anticipate him to test out pretty well. We already know the measurables are going to be insane. And while, he's a bit raw right now, he's a bit unpolished. In terms of tools, the tools are exceptionally solid. We've seen him consistently kind of go in other mocks to the 5th pick for the Seahawks. So if Carter and Anderson are off the board for Chicago, it's a good chance Wilson might be that compensatory pick for all those first rounders they just acquired. So let's go ahead and see what the Seahawks do here. And they go Will Levis. Now, this one is going to be intriguing. Geno, I think there's a chance he's probably slapped with the franchise tag, or even if they get a deal done, it's going to be one they're able to get out after 1 year. However, I think a guy like Will Levis could probably challenge for the starting spot. I mean, yeah, you're in a spot where you don't necessarily need to start him right away, but you definitely can. He's definitely a pro-ready quarterback. It's just to what level, how much can his high upside take him? And if you're the Seahawks, maybe you don't end up going with bringing back Geno. Then it's like, okay, you kind of have to go quarterback then, because Drew Lock ain't it. Fun fact, he ain't it. So again, you can make the argument Stroud, Levis, but regardless, this is what is being done here. Detroit Lions, I think he goes with the popular pick here in Devon Witherspoon, as we'll eventually get to it. We'll skip a couple of picks. That's all right. Devon Witherspoon, we don't really need to talk too much about Detroit's pick of a corner there. I feel like this is the first place where, okay, you get your shot at the top corner on the board. Go ahead, take your guy, and then kind of see how the draft falls to you at 18. That's kind of the wheelhouse I'm kind of at right now with the Lions, whether you think that guy is Christian Gonzalez, whether you think that guy is Devon Witherspoon. The Raiders, they go quarterback. CJ Stroud, Will Levis, I think those are the ideal candidates for Josh McDaniels, who's like, no, we need a quarterback, and if we're taking one in the first, then that guy's going to have to start right away. That's why I think Anthony Richardson kind of off the radar right now. You're looking at Levis, you're looking at Stroud, and you're like, okay, who will be available to us at pick 7? Stroud, I think, is a really good pick here for McDaniel's scheme. Honestly, I think Levis would be fine as well. And if you're the Raiders, man, it's like you probably bring in maybe a Jacoby Brissett to kind of come in there, be a backup guy familiar with McDaniels and familiar with his scheme. So maybe if injury happens, or if Stroud gets to camp and you're like, you know what? Maybe we don't start him yet right away, which, again, that's kind of a long shot in itself if you're taking Stroud or Levis. Those guys probably start day one. But if not, then I think Jacoby Brissett, if I could really pinpoint anywhere he goes, it's going to be to the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's get going to the Atlanta Falcons, as they're going to take Paris Johnson, excuse me, as soon as we get to it. Paris Johnson here. Keep in mind, Caleb McCary is a free agent. He was one of the best run blocking tackles last season. I think he's played pretty well under Arthur Smith. But if you end up not wanting to pay him, he goes the way of free agency. You're going to need someone to fill in for that right tackle spot, or maybe a long-term replacement for Jake Matthews at left tackle. So Paris Johnson does make sense to a degree here. You could also talk about edge rusher. I think is my favorite spot to go here for the Falcons. Now things get interesting. Is this Anthony Richardson? It's not. I knew that. So in fact, not Anthony Richardson. Instead, he goes with the defense, which, hey, it's like, you know what? They're getting the top defensive prospect on the board. So I'm okay with that. If you're like, you know what, we really don't want to have to build a quarterback up right now, which it's like, Frank Wright, go ahead and get your guy. Maybe they just don't think Anthony Richardson can be that. They have also been rumored to be in the Derek Carr market, so there is that. But I like to pick a Miles Murphy here. I also like the idea, if they do go Derek Carr, that potentially maybe trade down a few spots and take Bijan. Pairing him up with Chubba Hubba Bubbard Chuba Hubbard, though Bijan would be like kind of the main back there. Kind of be the Jonathan Taylor for Frank Wright. So I think that's definitely a thought. At 9, I don't like that pick though. Just because, again, the value of running back. But they've kind of built a solid offensive line at this point. So now they could probably still add parts if they really want to and need to. More so probably just depth. But, yeah, you could bring in that running back like Derek Carr. Like, he doesn't have to be the focal point of the offense. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm trying to remember. I know this. Oh, I remember. This is Nolan Smith. Here we go, Nolan Smith. Now, I'd be on board with this as a projection or a prediction if not for the torn pectoral. Not having the ability to test out or really take part in the offseason draft process kind of sucks. How much will that hurt his stock? We'll see. I think he'd probably be a top 20 at the very least prospect in this class. If not for that, the dude had a 25% win rate, pass rush win rate this past year. He was one of the better run defenders, and I think probably one of the biggest things for him at the combine, since he can't participate, is okay, you're undersized, but are you gonna be coming in with those 33-inch arms? Like, I think his stock does take a big hit if he comes in sub 33 inches, but him at 10 for me is a little rich right now at this point, but I don't think it's too out of the question given what we've seen from him thus far. Former 5-star recruit, there's a big pedigree to him that was just starting to emerge the last season and a half. Tennessee tight ends, this is a tackle. It is Broderick Jones, next tackle off the board. So he kind of goes for he goes for the guy that for sure is going to play tackle in the NFL, opposed to Peter Skoronski, who isn't. It's going to be a question. How does he measure out? What's the arm length? He isn't a high-end athlete for the position that you would take necessarily this high. So we could see Peter Skoronski. I don't think he slips out of top 15, but we could see him fall to that OT3 in this class. Jones, also a phenomenal fit for the offense there in Tennessee. The Houston Texans, y'all are going to love this one because some of y'all probably think Anthony Richardson. And I say, bah humbug. It's Lucas Van Ness. Get used to the Van Ness hype, baby. I swear, some of y'all be trying to tell me, oh, man, what a reach for Van Ness. And it's like, okay, well, everyone and their mom's starting to mock this guy high. Obviously, there's a lot that the NFL likes about him. Right now, he looks like a guy that really just turns speed to power. Strong hands, kind of a grizzly bear. Definitely needs some polish. If he tests out well agility-wise, it's like, oh, wow, I love this guy as a building block. Now, the Texans, they essentially shore up both tackle spots at this point. I don't think they necessarily have to go this route because I think we're going to see either Samson Ibukam or Arden Key get signed in the offseason. Then again, I mean, the Niners always been known for loving depth on the defensive line. So you got Lucas Van Ness, who's kind of like that power edge rusher, next to your Drake Jackson essentially, and Will Anderson, kind of that speed edge rusher, the D Ford of years yonder. So there we go. I think Peter Skoronski is for sure the next pick here for the Jets. It is in fact Peter Skoronski. I love tackle, offensive line, whatever you want to call it here, is one of my favorite picks in the first round for the New York Jets. It really, really is. And because you just kind of shore up that line, because like you have a big free agent in Connor McGovern. I regard him as a big free agent. It's not likely that they're picking up the 5th-year option on Mekhi Becton, so he could be on the way out. So suddenly, like, tackles looking thin. Maybe they really like Max Mitchell. Then you throw Elijah Vera Tucker there. Pierce Gronsky, a guy that can start at all 5 spots, in my opinion, in the NFL. So he gives you so much flexibility. I really like him at this spot. And then the New England Patriots are going Christian Gonzalez. Another pick I like here. Jonathan Jones heading to free agency. You also have you got Marcus Jones, you got Jack Jones there. Honestly, I think Marcus Jones ends up being a better slot player anyway. Christian Gonzalez opposite of Jack Jones. I think you get a really nice corner tandem heading to the future. So big fan. I think he's going to test out exceptionally well as well. On to the Green Bay Packers, who go Keion White. Man, we're seeing this guy go high in these past, like, mocks. We really are. What was first Lance Zierlein? Now we got Bengal here. I know Bengal talks, or actually he talks quite a bit to Daniel Jeremiah and Dane Brugler, and those are two guys that have first-round grades on Keion White. Like, Keion White going this high is not out of the question. I don't have him this high. I get it. It's a versatile pass rusher. You could snag here that I feel like regardless you're bringing, but you have to find a way to bring back Rashawn Gary. Even if this pick ends up being like a Myles Murphy, who's I'm really high on, I still think you bring back stinking Rashawn Gary regardless. But helps the pass rush here in Keion White. Nice versatile body type. A lot of tools, a lot of upside. Washington Commandos, they're going with Joey Porter Jr. I think he's a good fit for Jack Del Rio's scheme. And Washington, I think, could use more cornerback help. They could use more quality players at the position there with Benjamin St. Juice. Kendall Fuller was fine. He was good last year. But I think just grabbing more depth would definitely be more ideal for the Commandos. I don't recall this Pittsburgh Steelers pick. It's Cam Smith. We'll go over a couple of these picks real quick. It's Cam Smith. Cam Smith, I think, has fallen quite a bit in a few mock drafts because it's in leeway to the combine where it's like, can he test out well enough to be on par with the rest of these corners? How good are, in fact, Cam Smith's athletic traits? So I think that's why you've seen him drop a little bit in some of these mocks and other people's rankings. Steelers, Cam Sutton is a free agent, and even if they bring him back, they need more cornerback depth. They need more horses, more competition. Brian Branch going to the Lions. I actually like this slot. Immediately comes in, plugs in the slot, and you got Deshaun Elliott there, Tracy Walker, Kirby Joseph there at safety. Branch, again, immediately slot. Eventually could be a replacement for Elliott. Having Devon Witherspoon there on the outside. And it's like suddenly the secondary, there's reason to be optimistic about it. So I do like pairing these two picks up one after another. And then we're going to see Anthony Richardson go to the Buccaroonies here. They're in a rebuild, though they do have a lot of talent still on the squad. Unfortunately, they don't have talent where it matters, and that's at the quarterback position. You get a legit spark, a legit playmaker that the defense has to account for that is going to be tough to game plan for. Just might not start year one. So hopefully it's like if this is a Todd Bowles pick, this isn't one where he loses his job after the season because they have a lackluster year in spite of probably not seeing a ton of Anthony Richardson as he develops. So it's going to be very interesting in that regard. The Seattle Seahawks, trying to remember this one. I think it was along the defensive front. Yes, that's right. Brian Brazee. Listen, this is a dude that has all the tools. He's gonna test out well. And he hasn't produced well the past 2 years. 2021, he only played 4 games because of an ACL injury. And then this past season, he dealt with personal family tragedy. He had the kidney infection, so he had a lot going on this year. Though I thought he was a good can opener for the defense, that he helped enable a lot of guys to get pressure, like KJ Henry, like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So I think he goes very underappreciated, unfortunately. So we will see our first receiver here for the Chargers. And it is Jalen Hyatt. This is the second time we have seen Jalen Hyatt this week go as wide receiver 1. And I get it. Chargers, they need speed. They would love to have someone that can separate vertically, and Hyatt's that guy. But you got to ask yourself, is this too high for that? Is it? Because, I mean, I think you could achieve a similar thing in the second or even third round with guys like Tank Dell. You have Jaden Reed. Guys you could acquire on day 2 that honestly are very similar in terms of where they're ranked in mine as a Jalen Hyatt. So I'm just not there with Jalen Hyatt. I'm really not. Jordan Addison going to Baltimore here. They get separator, field stretcher. They get the Hollywood Brown that Lamar was missing. They tried to bring in Deshaun Jackson to kind of fill that void. That didn't happen. So it makes sense they want to go with speed. Tyreek Stevenson going to the Vikings. He's starting to get a little bit more first round love in the last couple. Well, ever since the Senior Bowl performance, but even a little bit prior. Vikings, listen, if you're telling me, hey, you want to see the young guys go out there and play well and just see what you got in a young secondary, I'm like poppycock. I'm like, come on, just go ahead. Keep adding talent. Keep adding competition. Keep adding depth to the cornerback room. And then I think this is Michael Mayer. Get used to it, Jags fans. It just seems like it's a good fit. Michael Mayer's a hard guy to project where he could go in this draft class. So they go ahead, snag him here. He's going to be the top tight end for a lot of people. Giants. Bengal actually thought long and hard on this Giants pick. Oh, yeah, it was Drew Sanders. There we go. So first linebacker now off the board. Drew Sanders, I think, is going to test ridiculously. And he could probably edge Trenton Simpson out for linebacker 1 if Simpson doesn't even come to the vicinity of Drew Sanders. Drew Sanders, very good off the edge, not just a guy that is a lanky body and coverage. He needs to be a bit more of a sure tackler. First year playing off-ball linebacker since being a senior in high school, though. And I thought he looked reasonably good. All right, Dallas Cowboys go with Sesame Robinson. I don't know why PFF kind of like glitched. I don't know. There's something with the PFF website. But yeah, even Bengal comments on his video. I don't know why it says Sesame. But Bijan Robinson going to the Cowboys, probably another popular landing spot. You get to keep Bijan in Texas. Jerry Jones would absolutely love this pick. Though the rumor is that they're going to throw the franchise tag on Tony Pollard. There's conflicting rumors that Zeke may or may not take a pay cut. I think regardless, they're probably out on him in the next few years. But say if Pollard doesn't get that franchise tag, then you could be like, if Bijan falls, this could be a perfect landing spot for him. Then Buffalo Bills go Cyrus Torrance, I believe. Yes, they do. What can I say more about that pick? Then I think it's the best pick in the first round for Buffalo. The best case scenario, their offensive line and particularly their interior needs some help, as they did no favors to Josh Allen this past year. Let's take a look at what Bengal has cooking for the Bengals, and it's Emmanuel Forbes. I think he's a really good fit for Coach Lou's scheme. Now it sounds like I think all the coaching jobs have been filled out. No, I think Jonathan Gannon is getting interviewed by the Cardinals. So I think that's the last domino to fall. Who ends up being the coach for the Cardinals? So sounds like they will get Coach Lou back, which is great. Let me let Gojo in. He wants to know what his Chiefs end up picking. Hey, Gojo. Welcome, bud. But let's go ahead, move on. Emmanuel Forbes, again, a guy that can play in the zone-heavy scheme, no problem. I like the fit, a guy that has a lot of diverse zone coverage under his belt. We got... Okay, y'all can see that. Kalijah Cansey. I mean, I'm sure you can see. That was stupid play on words. Cansey going to the Saints. They do lose David Onyemata. Butchered that last name, guaranteed. But honestly, like, the whole defensive line was underwhelming last season. They also lose Marcus Davenport. Kalijah Cansey, while it's not like an ideal body type, especially if he comes in there and measures out sub 6 foot, could end up being a death nail for him. At least in terms of his first round hype. But I mean, I think the Saints addressing the defensive line makes a ton of sense here at pick 29. And then the Eagles, pick 2, they are going with Jackson Smith-Njigba. Can you imagine that receiving core? As now Quez Watkins could be a wide receiver 4, which is great. But you get Jackson Smith-Njigba, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. That offense is scary. Best part, oh man, Eagles, they want to run the football and run it well. And I mean, they do enough designed quarterback runs, but they want to do that with their running backs as well. Jackson Smith-Njigba, a wonderful run blocker. All right, Gojo, here it is. Last but not least, Kansas City Chiefs. I think we have to go to this. And it's Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston. Hey, Gojo, y'all got Quentin Johnston. He doesn't believe it. He thinks Quentin Johnston's going to go higher too. And I believe it. Wow, everyone's suddenly freaking low on him. He's my wide receiver 1. He's inside my top 20. I freaking love him. This would be a banger get for, I think, Kansas City. A guy who has good long field speed, great size. Kind of MVS is kind of that in a similar role there. But Quentin Johnston, you're ideally hoping you're getting a better MVS at this point. But that's just great value for the Chiefs. I would love for the Chiefs to maybe go tackle. I would love if they don't bring back Orlando Brown. They could even still go tackle if they want to replace Wiley. Or they could... I like the idea of them addressing the defensive line. I think that would be great too. But variety of different ways they could go. But that's Bengals mock. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. That'll be it for the video. Remember, this is not my mock draft. Hashtag not my mock draft. I always have to say that. But it's been fun. It's been real. But most importantly, it's been real fun. Hope to catch y'all on the next one. Prospect rankings, they're slowly getting pumped out on the channel. So go ahead, indulge in that. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.